in my experience, there is a psychological attribute to it. And no matter whether it's wanting to orgasm faster or not having any control over it, I do know for a fact that the psychological connection to your spouse is a huge benefactor, because you can together work through anything if you communicate.
If you communicate, if you connect.
Yes.
If you
connect is better to say than communicate.
It's also keeping that love bank account in good shape. It's the nice things we do for each other, the goodwill that we maintain. So when we connect and we care and it matters to us, there is definitely a place where with PE, when the man relaxes, this is a really big deal. The more upset a woman is, the more difficult it is for a man, because the real keys to lasting long enough is the ability to focus on good feelings, is the ability to relax, and to have a sense of what the point of inevitability is and know where you're at on the sexual excitement scale. And so when you are upset, you climax more quickly. And when you are simply trying to please, because men who have PE, there's kind of a personality. It's like they want everything yesterday. They're very successful people, but they're very goal-oriented people, and that's good for most of their lives. Not in sex. Sex is a place at which you're supposed to vacation. Sex is a place where you should be able to relax. And so that's one of the things that's nice about self-hypnosis, is that it really gives you the ability to relax and focus on those good feelings instead of trying to have a goal of getting somewhere.
See, I think that's hitting the nail on the head. You talk about self-hypnosis and thinking, and I know that every guy goes through that. Okay, even every girl goes through that. What am I thinking about? How is this experience? Am I able to actually focus and control? And I get, that to me has a lot to do with it. You know, that whole psychological control over the whole thing. And I like how you said, about the bank account. That was a good way to put it. Again, it is very unique about the self-hypnosis. Talk about that a little bit for a second. I love hearing that.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I've noticed, too, is that men who have PE, it's not true for everyone that has PE, but I think this is a big part of it, is that they can kind of like psych themselves out in a way. They get so focused on their partner's excitement, or so into the excitement of the moment, that they lose the connection to their body. And men who are able to last long enough really maintain a balance between their excitement and their connection to their body. And that has to do with relaxation. So one of the things that self-hypnosis does is that it helps you focus, and it helps you get that mind-body connection going better, a place that you really have to be able to relax and get into your body. And I think men who have PE never really learn how to do that. Plus, like, they're real goal-oriented and really get somewhere in their lives, so there's like a hyperness sometimes to them. But also, I find that it has to do with early experiences in life where their families were really goal-oriented, or very religious, or there were lots of people in the room where you couldn't just spend time relaxing and enjoying your own pleasure. You had to get somewhere. You had to do something. You had to not think about sex. And so then you become an adult and you don't remember that you were trying to get away from this good stuff. And it becomes now a habit. So you have to develop a new habit. And that's where self-hypnosis comes in, a new habit of relaxing and focusing on the good feelings.
And what people don't understand, and this is very powerful, is that through as much renewed emotional response, you can actually recreate neural framework in your brain through synaptic connections. I mean, literally changing your brain and breaking off issues and things that have, deterred you from having any kind of good experience. For example, I've had one of my coaches years ago, we talked about my ADD. I don't know what to do. I'm procrastinating. What do I do? He says, well, the good news is I got the answer. The bad news is it doesn't exist.
Oh dear.
You gotta. There's no explanation, but there's a cure. And right there, understanding what he was getting at was the fact that you can literally change things. There's no explanation for it. But again, now scientifically, we're starting to prove those explanations.
We never thought that that certain areas of the brain could regenerate and things of that sort. We always thought, and personality was static and it was just the way it was. But we're beginning to discover that the brain is a lot more plastic than we even dreamed of. Yeah. And it's a very exciting time around neurology and around the whole thing of change and what we're capable of. It's, like they start talking about it in The Secret and all of those kinds of things. Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's places that we've never gone before, and there are ways in which we can change that. That relaxation is a huge part of that.
Yeah. Well, I think some of your programs would be fantastic for people. I mean, when you first get a couple or an individual into the office, what are some of the things that you immediately cover once you help each other analyze what some of the core issues would be? Do you go right into the self-hypnosis? Or amongst
I definitely, yes. I always have the CDs available, and I encourage my patients to work with them, and so that gets them used to my voice. And I teach them, I work with them in all kinds of self-soothing kinds of things, and it depends upon what we're working with. But with PE, right away we use the self-hypnosis. We use the hypnosis in the session and focus on specific issues, and I have them working with the self-hypnosis. Different ways that work best for them in self-soothing, but hypnosis is very powerful.
Yeah, I like that idea quite a bit. I think that's it's a solution that people can do on their own time with for themselves, and
Absolutely.
Obviously with the CDs.
That is definitely one of the things that I work with is give them things that they can do on their own time, really get them in charge of what's going on for them. And one of the things with self-hypnosis that is really valuable is, and one of the things they found in the research on couples, is that one of the things men tend not to be able to do is self-soothe. They deal with themselves by getting upset with themselves. And they think it goes back to caveman days when men were out to go get, the game and bring it home. They had to stay hyper that whole time in order to go and accomplish that, whereas women tended to be more gatherers where they had to pay attention to lots of things. So they do a little bit better with self-soothing. And this is the thing that men do terrible with self-soothing. They found that in the research on couples, and clearly we see that with PE.
Yeah.
So it can help you in all areas of your life.
Well, I think that's fantastic. Well, listen, we're about out of time here. Dr. Gless, I can't thank you enough for the interview, and it was really a breath of fresh air to hear not only a woman's approach, but just a different approach in general to this issue that is obviously a male problem. And I think that it was just wonderful to hear the different things. So once again, thank you very much for the interview.
You're very welcome, Adam.